not only a place for friends.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. All right, so we're live, and all right, so guys, I wanted to bring my friend. So do what are we gonna do? Call you Gray Fox, or are we gonna say your name? Like,
Yeah,
how
we
we
can say
do?
my real name's Micah. I just kind of go by Gray. My friends and everyone just call me Gray for short. And as you probably can see from the tag, 50 Shades of Gray. It's kind of the appeal there.
So I'm just gonna like speak to them for a second to kind of like intro you. So guys, so I met Gray Fox or Micah. I joined some like Facebook group, like some game group, and like the fucking Facebook group was like dead. And then I found that there was like some little like group me group out there for guys that were actually going out every night in Atlanta, to practice game. And so I got tied into that group, and I've actually hung out with like different of those members like separately. And then one night they all got together, all the guys that were in this group, and then Micah was there. And I remember like I was already kind of following him because he would be one of the guys that actually gave advice instead of just saying, "Oh, just be cool, bro. Just be cool." Like you would actually like mentor people and stuff. And so I thought that was really cool. And I still get some of those guys. They'll like hit me up over text and stuff. Be like, hey, they'll hit me up like once every 3 months and be like, hey, do you want to come here? But it's almost like they're keeping me in their Rolodex. Like they don't really actually ever talk to me. It's just like some kind of event invite, and then they don't really like keep up and shit. But one thing I felt like that stood out about you versus like the rest of the guys in the group is like I don't know. I just feel like you're a real person. Like you do cool shit. Like you're doing jujitsu. It seems like you're into like yoga and meditation, stuff like that. And you've had a really fucking interesting life. So anyway, there was one night where we all went out together, and this is like an epic story that I tell because I just thought it like illustrated the power of game. So everybody's out doing their fucking thing. We're in Buckhead somewhere, and I'm following various guys around throughout the night. And at one point, I'm following you around, and you're like, okay, go talk to this girl. Go talk to this girl. And I'm doing that, and then you go off and you single out this girl. I don't know if you remember this, but you single out this. There's this blonde chick. She's fucking beautiful, and she had these two big like football player dudes like talking to her. Okay, and so like we're passing. I'm like in tow behind you, and we're passing, and you like reach out almost like for a high five, and she comes into high five, and then you just like interlaced fingers with her, and you like had her attention, like you were in right there, and you just peeled her off of whatever guy she was talking to. So I come up and I'm like talking to like I'm talking to the dude to keep him away so you can like work your shit with the girl, and then all of a sudden his friend comes in. Well, all this shit plays out and she's like in the zone, like she's locked into you and I, and the friends are like starting to get pissed, and so like one of the dudes like came up and he's like physically trying to like pull me away. Like, and I knew because I'd watched enough, like Owen Cook and Jeff Allen and shit like that to know to like not talk to the guy, right? So because I knew like this, because he was like, "Hey, bro, you're making her uncomfortable, bro. Like, what are you doing?" And like she's like wide eyes, like she's like fucking both of us, and like so I'm just like ignoring, but so that doesn't work. So he just fucking grabs me and like he's trying to pull me away without the girl noticing. So I just fucking planted. And then we just kept talking to her, and then we just moved on. But I thought it was like such an epic illustration of pickup because like all you had to do was just basically do that and look at her, and you immediately had her attention from these guys she was talking to the whole night. Those guys look intimidating to the average guy, but yet you were able to go right in, and we were able to like be non-reactive to the dudes, and still like had you wanted to get her number or whatever, you could have done it right then and there. So that was
Yeah, chicks definitely. I mean, it doesn't matter how fucking big you are. Like right now, I'm like a fucking stick. I weigh 120 pounds. I remember those guys were pretty big. They're big dudes. But yeah, girls just like the cooler guy, the chiller dude. Honestly, it's funny because I'm like, all I had to do is do nothing and just let them just blow themselves up. Like, what are you doing? I just find it funny.
So I wanted to tell that story because I wanted people to like get a sense, because people that don't know you, they don't know like if you're legit or not. They don't know like what you've been through and shit. But that was like my limited like the probably for the half an hour that I was, hanging around you that particular night or whatever, that was my experience of you. It's not like this epic fucking thing. It was epic to me because I don't hang out in the clubs, So for everybody else, so you want to like just kind of give a little bit of backstory and maybe talk about like what you're doing on the road and shit and kind of what you're up to now.
Oh man, well, right now I just transferred back in Atlanta. I'm thank God working back local because I really felt like I wanted to get into more things. I wanted to grow stronger, and I was making money and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's good. But then I'm like, something seems like it's lacking. Like I need something personal to continue to grow myself. And the yoga was good. But now that I'm able to do some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I feel like I'm like, yeah, that was it. That's fucking it. Yes. Holy shit. And also my makeouts have gotten a hell of a lot better. Like just instantly within the first week, last week I walked up and when I grabbed this girl just around the jaw, just that comfort with holding and touching people, I was able to do it so calmly. And she was just like, we just came right in and made out. I didn't even say any words to her.
Like since jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. I was like, it was the jiu-jitsu, just being comfortable touching people, like holding people comfortably without feeling awkward.
Because you always got that fucking pressure on you, like somebody's putting all their body weight.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah, that was really cool. But I don't know. I guess like basic backstory, same thing like everyone else. So I started off nice guy. I'm still a nice guy at heart. But let's see. Yeah, I'm like, I wanted to get fucking better, blah, blah, blah. Met up with a bunch of dudes. You meet a whole bunch of guys who are in it, and then they kind of just flake, and they're just like, oh, just trying it out. Like, oh, this is too hard. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Like, life is hard. So, yeah, just going out, crushing it as much as I can, learning as much as I can. And I started realizing, I don't know, just like the deeper you get into it, the more complex it gets. But you have to just kind of love that process.
So you're at the point now where you can just do like an instant makeout, basically just walk up and just kind of fucking.
Anybody could. You always could. It's just like, are you going to do it or are you not going to do it?
Okay.
What's changed now is, I'm way less scared to do it and fail. Like
how does that work? So you're reading signals before you even do that, Like, can you set that up? Like how does, like, a lot of guys that just fucking blows their minds. Like, how does that happen?
Sure. If a girl is even like, I'm walking and I see a girl looking at me, I'm going to lock eyes with her and just tell myself in my mind, she's looking at me because she wants me and she's checking me out. Usually if you don't do anything, the girl will just turn right back around because it's awkward. She doesn't want to look at you, like look like a creep, but hey, she's checking you out. So I'm like, we're locked up. I'm looking at her. So I'm reaching out. If we lock hands, if I want to make out with her, and if I keep walking close to her and I look down at her mouth and I look back up at her and she's okay, I'm like, I'm going to go in. It's pretty straightforward. You're either going to win or you're going to fail or you're going to win. But if she pulls back, then just start talking normally. Just be like, oh, sorry, I just had to meet you. I had to let you hit on me for like 3 seconds. You're really fucking cute. Like, what's your name? And then just
2 steps forward, 1 step back. If they turn the cheek or whatever, right?
Yeah. Don't freak out about it if she's just like. But I mean, I don't do that a lot. I wouldn't just recommend just run around to every girl and just like dive right in. But it definitely happens. It happened last week. I was with a dude I'd met once or twice, but I don't remember. But I was trying to tell him to go talk to the girl, but he was just kind of standing there, just a little nervous for a second. And so we were standing a little too close for too long. So they had already noticed us. And I was just kind of like acting awkward. I'm like, just stretching, whatever. And she just walks right up to me. She goes, hey, I think you wanted to talk to me. Yeah, I was just like, immediately I was just kind of like reading her body language. I was like, no, I mean, I think you wanted to talk to me, but if the shoe fits, I mean, you're sexy as fuck. So am I. And then
that's awesome.
And then 2 seconds later, it was like, boom, make out. So
that's fucking cool. So what do you do with that typically? You just let it be what it is, or you grab their number from there, or what do you do with that?
I kind of just rolled with the flow. Obviously, she was with a bunch of friends, so don't just start tonguing her down and all that shit. Like, you don't want to make her look completely horrible. But like, I started
Gotcha.
a
Yeah.
little bit, was talking to her, and then I saw from from my peripheral, her friends started closing in. So immediately, I had to kind of bring them in. They were
Okay.
all
Yeah. Yeah.
they were all in love with me, so that was fine. But like, you gotta be fast with that shit. You can't be like just totally and you're like, hey, let's just like make out for a little bit and like let me pull you and stuff. But
So this is like a really nuanced skill set, right? Because so like for the guys like following my stuff for the most part, if they're going on like one-on-one dates, pulling girls off the internet and stuff like that, like that's leaving out all the group dynamics, right? Like you said, like if you're making out with a 10 in public, like they're like hesitant to do that, right? Because then the judgment from the friends and all that kind of stuff.
mhm,
And then if the friends come up, you can't like alienate her from the friends. Like you have to entertain everybody.
right.
This is stuff. This is a discipline that you don't get like if you're just like pulling girls off the internet or whatever.
That's
So
true.
so like, how long did it take you to get to a point where you could sort of like crowd control and handle all that kind of shit?
I think okay, so I mean, right off the bat, anyone can be a fucking dancing monkey. That's pretty easy. You're just like, oh hi, friend. Oh, you're nice. Oh.
Yeah.
That won't work that long. So I would say like a whole year you'll be doing that for a little bit. But honestly, girls can kind of read awkward, nervous energy if you're trying to, like if a dude walks in and you're just like, oh hey, nice shirt, nice shirt. Like they can kind of feel that. I would say recently, especially as I've gotten into yoga, they can tell like my energy is really, really pure and genuine. Like I see them coming in and I'm like, oh, like, cool. These are really good friends. Hey, like you guys are cool. And I'm not like trying to play a role for them. And honestly, I would say that took like 2 or 3 months to just relax and not have any insincere nervous energy like coming from underneath me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's this I feel like it's a process of being vulnerable, right? Because like because like the anxious energy comes from trying. So then like if you just kind of stop trying, like you can't not try altogether. If you literally don't care, you just be celibate in the corner, right?
Right.
But like you're there and you're just like letting the real you like either get rejected or whatever, but like the real you is also the one that wins over the girl too.
Right. Yeah, the weird thing is recently, especially when I'm talking to our friends, I'm 100% honest and truthful. I'm just like, hey, like your friend was really cute. Oh, like you guys are cool too. I'm not even trying to play like this. Oh, I don't know if I like her yet. Is she like a
Okay.
stalker or whatever? Either one works as long as you're just extremely honest and calm about it. They're just like, wow, you're such a chill guy. I like you. And then all of a sudden we're all hugging. So
That's awesome. That's fucking cool. So did you have a chance like okay, so you recently, you were on the road for a while doing the trucking thing and like you just recently moved back to Atlanta. Like when you were out on the road, did you get chances like with what you were doing out there to like practice? Were you gaming like all throughout the states or were you just like focused on work?
oh God, I wish. No, man, I went like totally antisocial like the whole time.
Yeah.
When I got
Yeah.
when I took that one vacation to Miami, I was like, all right, time to learn how to be human again.
Okay. Yeah. So God, what was that like? Just a retreat? What was getting out and getting on the road? Was that just a way to make money, or was it a way to like break away from all the game that you were doing before? Like what was that chapter about?
Yeah, I think it was a majority about money, and just because COVID-19 was going on, I figured I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna miss much in the first place. And then after a while and so much isolation, I was kind of like, okay, I kind of understand this job. I'm like, now what's next? I'm making good money. What's next? I'm like, okay, I've always wanted to expand my spiritual practice or work on things outside of game that are beyond just kind of going out. Because, there's a lot of inner work that you have to do, like what do you call it? I just call it subconscious programming, meditation, and when I say subconscious programming, I mean just like working on daily affirmations, really thinking about how you see yourself when you don't have all this external stuff around you. So it was
Right.
kind of just silence and seeing who I am without all the things I'm used to.
You mean like all the external validation, because you can essentially end up having an instant makeout. So it's like you've got all this external validation, but it's like, okay, what does it look like without that?
Right. Yeah. It's like, how do I feel? How do I fill myself up? I'm like, oh, I'm lacking in some areas. So I'm going to teach myself how to always feel like I'm in a state of, I feel good. I don't need a girl to make me feel good. I feel good if I'm standing in the bar and everyone's bouncing around with friends and I'm just kind of alone. I'm feeling good there, which is good because as soon as a girl walks by, like I'm still in a good state.
Yeah, but you're no stranger to doing hard shit, because one thing I've noticed with you is like, okay, you were in the army for a while, weren't you?
Right.
Yeah, so you've been through the army, you put yourself through, like, you've actually done the pick, not just dip your toes in, but you've actually fucking been through the ringer, in the clubs and stuff. And now you're doing jujitsu, which in my opinion is one of the hardest martial arts that you could ever do. So like all these like super like high character development things, like you've done that,
Right.
like that. And that's the thing I think a lot of people miss about like pickup is like, yeah, you learn a lot of technique and shit like that. But the stuff that actually works is like the person that like puts them through all that hard shit, where you
Right.
can like use emotional restraint in front of the really hot girl, and like all the character that you build up through all this other shit. Like that's like what's winning them over.
Yeah. Oh, holy shit. This dog just walked right in my room. Hi, dog. Go away. All right. Anyways. Yeah. No, it's what I realize is it's like girls are just really attracted to dudes who are emotionally intelligent. I mean, that's pretty much it. And how you get there, the army, mental toughness, the yoga, and learning of jujitsu, the art of responding appropriately, calmly, and having that focus, which a lot of dudes don't have, especially when they're intoxicated.
I'm gonna put up a comment on the screen. Okay, I did stuff like that in the club after a few drinks 12 years ago at 19 in the UK. Can't imagine doing it now, partly because nightclubs don't float my boat anymore, but also can't imagine doing it now. Like pulling in seconds. Where else can you do that? I mean, that was on the street, right?
Yeah, so now I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm this clubby dude. I run around doing Superman poses, like screaming, ah, dude. I'm introverted, so like, yeah, I've definitely pulled from a target. I don't recommend the gas station because girls are really, really on guard with that. And usually it's like, I always find like a chick who's just going in to get a damn Swisher Sweets or something. But I'm telling you, everywhere that you're out and about and there's opportunity, there's always opportunity.
I agree with that. One thing I've noticed is like when you're in the zone, right? When you've hooked up with multiple girls in the same week, like when you're in the fucking abundant zone, like everywhere you go, like your radar is on, because like if you already had all this like positive reinforcement from like two or three girls, that like it's going to be everywhere else too. So your radar, it's like you notice the one girl that's looking at you in the grocery store, whereas normally you wouldn't, because reticular activation system, you're just focused, your brain's filtering out reality for the shit that you're already entwined with. So if you're already entwined with success with women, like your brain's like, okay, where's it at? I know it's here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. One thing I was really thinking of, it slipped my mind. One thing that really, 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 really fucking helps me is changing the way you think. Well, first of all, noticing the way you're thinking immediately. When you see a girl, notice the first thought that comes to you, the emotion, and changing that thought and being more open-minded about it. Like before, naturally, guys see a girl, like you're in Target, you're shopping around, you guys make eye contact for brief second. Immediately, you might be thinking, oh, like I'm in her way, I'm trying to get by, or like I looked at her for a little too long. That's totally okay to have that thought in your head, but you always need to have perspective about everything. Ask yourself, was she checking me out? Like, could she be really happy if I just said, wow, I really like your dress? Could I really fucking make her day? Is there a possibility that she just broke up with her boyfriend and she's pain shopping for chocolate right now? And when I talk to her, she's just ready to go out of the box? Like, is that a possibility? Because I'm telling you, that has happened.
Oh, I believe it. Let me ask you this. Does it have to be logical? Because like my thought is like, I don't even need to convince myself that deeply. Like I can get to the point where it's like a girl looks at me and I can immediately manually switch my thought from, oh, she thinks like I'm weird or that I've looked too long or whatever to like, oh, she's looking at me because she wants me. Like it's like default is like, oh, it's because she wants me. Even if it has no bearing in reality whatsoever,
Right,
I
right.
can like brainwash myself to be like, oh, it's because she wants me.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, even if it's not true, I feel like you can change that reality. Even if a girl's like, I didn't even know I wanted to, Benny, but now I do. So true. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, but you have to manually do it because our defaults are like the wiring that we have growing up, right? Or just from being a fucking human being. We know that there's all these possibilities of what people are thinking. It could be that they're hungry, whatever the fuck, like somebody just else pissed them off. There's all these different things. And so we're cognizant of the different like avenues of reality, what could be fueling the way this person's like looking at us or whatever. But it's like it almost doesn't matter because when you start taking like in that moment, like you choose like what fork in the road you're going to go down. And it's like, oh, I'm going to go down the one where I'm doing epic shit and I'm just going to believe that the girl liked me. And then reality plays out from there. But it's like you get to choose what path you're going down.
Right,
Like
right.
and even what makes it funnier is like there is such a thing as a path of just like hoping it goes well. Right. So it's like in a bad sense though. So what I mean is like we see the girl look at us maybe, and maybe she likes us, maybe she doesn't, we don't know. And so you kind of go in with this anxiety like, well, I'm going to go do this and I just hope it goes well. I don't know what's going to happen. And then what happens is you're the guy that hopes it goes well instead of the guy that like knows it's fucking going to go well, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's so like the mindset is so nuanced. It's like you can't even just like take the action and like cross your fingers. It's like, no, you got to fucking take the action and like make sure that you're the shit the whole time. Like that, those are the forks in the road that you can go down, like before you go talk to the girl,
Yeah, I feel like when me personally, when I was in that mindset of like, oh, I hope this goes well. I hope like she likes me. I think deep down, when I look deep down in that thought, it's still that automatic thought where it's like, it won't go well. Even if she's just like, oh, wow, you're really cute, whatever. I'm just like, no, I'm just going to leave this situation just the way it is because this cannot go well. I think deep down, that's the issue. But like you said, you kind of have to snap back. Like, no, wait, I'm the shit. Like, let's keep going. And you got to keep training your brain to bring that thought back into focus because otherwise you're just going to go back to that same, like, oh no,
right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let's see. Somebody says, fuck yeah, I want to do that.
Do it, Facebook user. Do it. Don't be afraid to fucking fail, though. Excuse me for throwing the F-bomb.
No, dude, that's all we do around here is throw the F-bomb.
Cool.
So let's regale these people with an epic story of pickup artistry.
Well, first of all, just to be clear, me as a person, I hate kind of considering myself like in the pickup thing. It's because like if you listen to me talk to a girl and vibe with her, I don't feel like I'm saying anything that's canned or using. I know a couple of little gimmicky things, but none of those things put together are making this girl wet or anything. It's just kind of serving as a vehicle while I'm just showing her like my vibe. I'm calm. Yeah. I feel authentic. I don't really feel scared of her because I've been rejected about a million fucking times now. I'm just a rock now. It's like, bring it on. Let's see.
That's what we need. We need an epic story of rejection and success as well. But hold on. But like to your point, I get what you're saying because that's what people miss is like it's just a matter of like figuring out how to shine like the real fucking person. Mm-hmm. Like the cheesy pickup artist shit. That's the mainstream caricature that society casts on it because everybody else is too pussy to go take the action.
Right. Okay, a bad story. Oh god, the first one that just came. I've got some really good ones, but the one that came right off the top of my head was when I first started going out. I think this was kind of before I'd understood like a little bit of pickup shit, but I was like in my early 20s and I'd been hanging around this girl who's in that was a regular in a bar. So we'd hung out we've known each other for at least 2 months, but I knew she was just a bar chick. And finally I was like, oh good, she's finally going to fucking take me home. Like, let's go do this, whatever. She was getting a little tipsy. And at the last second, she just found this dude out of nowhere. who just looked like he came right out of a gas station or some shit. I don't know. He just looked real scruffy. Of course, she was like, I want him. Oh my God, he's so hot. And I was so upset and jealous. I was like, no, like I hung around her the whole night. I kept her safe. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. Oh. Anyways, she was saying something like, she tricked me into taking her home because I lived like 2 minutes away. But of course, she kind of just wanted to sleep with the guy. But she kind of made me feel like she was going to sleep with me. And I just kind of remember us going back to my place. We smoked some weed, and of course, I got super high. And after like they started slipping up to my guest bedroom, I remember I just erupted in anger. I just lost my fucking cool. I was like, why the fuck did I do this? I made sure I was like, no. I was like, no, y'all gotta go. Like, go out and go fuck in the car. No, I'm sorry. I was so upset and just I felt like I'm such a chump. I was such a nice guy.
Because you were over invested and dude slipped in at the last minute, not giving a fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. I think he like mumbled like two things the whole night. He was like, oh, yeah, I think I was a Marine or something. Of course, back at the time, like I'm always so insecure. I'm like, I come off a little flamboyant. I'm a smaller dude. I don't have a lot of muscle mass and shit. So I was so just totally jealous and insecure. But
yeah,
dude, you learn more. But good moment. So many good moments.
I mean, to me, that one night in the club, I thought that was such an amazing demonstration of like what's possible. Because everybody else, like in that, because like you would have had to paint the picture for everybody else, like watching. Like the dudes were fucking big. Like we were just barely passing her. They'd been talking to her for a minute. She was fucking hot, and it's like her eyes were wide immediately. Like that was so cool, like for me to see. But I'm sure you've had pretty epic moments doing your thing.
Yeah. Man, I don't have any amazing moments I can think of off the top of my head, except last weekend. It did blow my mind because I spent all night and I was like, oh, got a couple numbers. Everything was good. But then I kind of ended up dry at the end of the night. And I just ended up running into two buddies and we were just talking. It was totally dead. It was like 4 a.m. Nothing going on. No one there. I was already towards my car, away from the bars. We were just talking. Hey, man, like I heard you going to Miami. This is what's going on. Out of the corner of my eye, we just see like this lone chick walking. He's like, there's a chick. And I was like, so I'm already there. Right?
It's like the only one out at 4 a.m.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? We're talking for a second. And she's so chill. These girls are so preoccupied. She's on FaceTime like, oh, my friend, trying to find my friend. And I see the girl on the phone. I was like, oh, shit. The girl she's talking to on her phone, I had met her earlier in the night. Like, I recognize her hat. I was like, oh, damn it. But yeah, we're like walking and talking, and she's actually into me. But I'm like, there's not enough time. We're like walking real fast. Like my car's coming up, and her friend's coming up. Like I don't know what's going on. But like right at that second, out of nowhere, do not ask me why and how this is possible, because anything's possible in the world. All of a sudden, in the corner of my ear, I hear this other girl go, "Hey," and I like turn and look. She's like, "Hey, you're really cute." And I'm just like, hey, it's like 3 girls standing there with their car. And they're like, you're really cute. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, do I want to come with you? And I'm like, yes. I just like went with her. And she was like, oh, you're like really hot. Like, by the way, do you know how to drive like a 5-speed? Like none of us can drive a stick. And I was like, that's why I know how to drive a manual transmission.
Exactly. You've been prepping for this one night.
I just met these 3 random girls. They just decided they saw me walking with this girl and they were like, you cute. Oh, you look like sort of Prince, sort of Ludacris, not really. And
was that the picture you posted?
Yeah.
Nice.
Literally, awesome. We were just talking for like a few seconds and they were like, yeah, you're really hot. Come with us. And I was just like, what am I going to say? No?
Man, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so I pull up their car right in front of my friend Alex, and I'm just like, hey, I'll see you motherfuckers later.
But you didn't even have to like use any skill. Like you just happen to be there like in your just chilling, right?
Right.
I guess that's the skill because a lot of guys are try hard, especially at that probably time of night, I would imagine. So you're just kind of doing your fucking thing. And you're like, oh, yeah, there we go.
Strike when the iron is hot. don't look too desperate, but like if the opportunity comes, just be like, all right, promise me you're not gonna kill me.
So I posted this story today. I'll tell a story too. This is cool. This is like, like using Facebook. Well, actually, no, I met this chick off Hinge, but just doing like the app thing. And so I matched with this girl on Hinge, and on Hinge, she sees that like I was a Marine in my profile. I had a picture of like me and the Marines or whatever, right? She goes, "Oh, well, I don't like Marines, so this isn't going to go anywhere."
Yeah.
And so I was like, and she was hot, so I'm still working it, right? So I was just like, okay, well, I was like, God, maybe I got her number first, and maybe then she knows that I was a Marine, something. But I was like, okay, well, 10 minutes on the phone, like, if we don't vibe, then fine, whatever. Like, it is what it is. So I call her, and by this point, I was like really fucking weathered at this, right? So I'd gotten really good at having short phone conversations and not really caring what happened on the phone. So I pick up the phone and I call her, and doing like light get to know you shit and being playful. I'm like getting the energy up, and I let her go. I was like, okay, listen, I really got to go do X, Y, and Z. This is like after like fucking, giving her good emotions for like 10 minutes straight, right? So she wants more, and I'm like letting her go, right? And so, oh yeah, so the thing is like, God, what was it? Yeah, so I got her like all excited and shit on the phone, and at some point after that, what I did was I texted her a picture to save to her contacts. I can't remember the order of all this shit, but basically after the phone conversation, it comes to light that that I've got earrings. So she sees this picture of me with earrings that I send to her to save her phone contact. So and this chick is like high profile Atlanta area lawyer, like Ivy League, like former reporter, like Ivy League type shit, right?
Yeah.
So she just fucking digs into me about these earrings. She's like, oh, well, if you show up to the date with those earrings on, I'm just fucking leaving. And she's like laying into me about the earrings, And so I was like, cool, if you show up and you just fucking leave right away, I guess that'll be one less dinner I have to buy, right? Like whatever. And so I show up to the date, man. So this is at the Vortex, okay, and not the Midtown one, the other one. And so I show up. So I go to the bar at the Vortex, and she's fucking smoking. She's smoking hot. I sit down, and she immediately she's just fucking her face is dead. She's like in lawyer mode, she's just giving me shit. Yeah, and she's like, what? I can't even remember what she said, but she said something about the earrings. So I'm just like, I let it bounce off me, right? I'm just like, I'm keep playing with her and stuff like that. And she basically lays into it 2 more times. And the last time it was so not cool that I just kind of looked away for a second, kind of recouping, and then I'd turn and I'm right back at it, right? I'm back onto whatever other subject, right? Well, this is why the story is epic for me, because the second that I did that, after she threw everything she had at me, and keep in mind, this is a lawyer that's constantly digging into people and giving them shit, right, all the time for her profession. Right. The second I came back, she gave me as much as she could give, dude, her face just washed over into fangirl mode. It was so fucking crazy, dude, because she went from stern lawyer chick all of a sudden to now her eyes are wide and she's fucking hanging all over me. And of course it wasn't but 15 minutes later I was walking her down the street. She had an apartment right down the road right there. And that was one of my favorite stories ever, man, because it just goes out to show if you get really good at holding frame, somebody's got to adopt somebody's frame. It's just a matter of who's gonna go along with the other one, right?
Right. I've had a girl somewhere like that where she was a firefighter and used to be around guys, so she was just giving me a lot of shit, and I just was not feeling it. I was like, why is she acting like this? And I was like, all right, Ewan, I give up. I'm not doing this shit. And then she's just like, oh wait, sorry, sorry, I was just joking. I wouldn't do it if I knew you couldn't take it or something. Yeah, that's dope that you're able just to hold that frame and know deep down no girl is that strong. No offense, they can only hold it for so long.
She wouldn't have shown up. I mean, yeah, it was down the road from her place, but why would she show up? Right. Otherwise, right? If she wasn't really into me, she wouldn't have, she wouldn't have been responsive. She wouldn't have taken the phone call, blah, blah, blah. Right. So it's just noise.
question, how are you like I guess interpreting her vibe? So how are
So even when I would, so I actually ended up going out on 7 dates with this girl, and the whole time I'm dating other girls too, right? And we stopped because she started to like get into the fields, and there's some other details involved there, but because not that I wasn't relationship minded, because I've got a fiance now, but anyway, she was so over the course, even over every date from there, she was very much like into her masculine because that was her job. So she was smoking hot, but her job was to like fucking dig into people. And so what I noticed was like to get her into her feminine, it took a lot of work. Like I would constantly have to like tickle her and like poke at her and fucking say stupid shit. But like you don't always want to have to do that, right? Like it's okay to like get to know somebody or to like if it gets boring, like you inject some energy into it and like now it's cool again.
right?
But like for to have to do that constantly, it's like God, like I don't want to fucking do this for the rest of my life. It's like you got to bring some energy to the table too. So that was an incompatibility, but it was like cool, like because I was only seeing her once a week, so it was cool enough to just do that for once a week or whatever. So yeah, I guess I would interpret her vibe as like masculine.
Okay, yeah. It's like girls who do that these days, personally, it's not my vibe, but like when I'm watching it, I just see through the bullshit filter. I'm just like, oh, this is cute. Like this is her mask. This is just her thing. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, really? Oh, okay. Cool. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, because you've seen it when you see it from enough different types of girls, like, oh, maybe it was from the Ivy League girl, and now it's from like the tattooed chick, and now it's from some other girl. It's like, oh, okay, like it's not like that's just their thing. It's like you see the fucking patterns, and now it's like funny because you're like, okay, you can spin the wheels if you want to.
I find it amusing. Like I would just be wondering, I'm like, what is this girl trying to get? Like, is she trying to lower my self-esteem or what? Like, I'm just very, very confused. So I'm just kind of sitting there like I said, I've been on a bunch of different girls who are like that. If I ask them like, hey, did you like grow up around brothers or like, what are you trying to do here? Like, but yeah, man, that's really funny. Every person has I'm not saying like dig into their deepest, darkest weakness, but honestly, everyone has their own vulnerable moments and you just have to let that come out of them. Not don't play into that weird like I don't like your earrings. Like, do you do that that makes you feel better, Benny, about yourself? You feel like a bad boy?
Okay, sorry, let me take these out so now we can, it's like, no, fuck that.
But no, sorry, the earrings stay on and the socks stay on during sex too. So oh my God, I am a high school. You don't talk to me like that. I'm a lawyer. Like, bitch, I don't care how much you make.
Yeah. Well, it was funny though. It was cool because like actually we never even talked about money. It was cool. It's such a stark contrast because like as I'm sure you can tell, it's like you've got that really like alternative vibe thing going on, but that doesn't stop you from dating any kind of girl, right? Because like all that matters is the character. So like you could date an Ivy League chick, whatever. But it was a cool contrast because we never talked about money. Like it was just like she appreciated the fact that I was real, Okay, so somebody's asking, do you think by holding your masculine it forced her into the feminine? That particular situation, that was me holding my frame. It wasn't like a polarity thing. So it was like because my frame, especially by that point, was like, okay, like I'm having success with girls. I know fucking girls like me. I'm like at that time I was kind of like experimenting with more accessories and shit like that, but I was already congruent. So I was like, okay, this is me. I'm doing my fucking thing. So no amount of pressure was gonna like rock me off that. And I also knew that you could power through these things and still have success. So I didn't have to be like, oh, she's being a bitch. I'm insulted now, so I need to leave. It's like, no, I'm just like my frame is like I'm the cool guy. So I don't think it forced her into her feminine right there. I mean, that is a possibility, I guess. It could have been like a polarity thing, but for me, it was more like frame adoption. So if my frame was the guy that cannot be offset by the really stern, like intimidating lawyer chick, then what does that make her? It has to make her by virtue of that, like the girl that's like like the fangirl, because what else can you do if she threw all her fucking missiles at me and there's nothing left, then just by virtue of holding that frame, it's like she has to adopt that, oh, that I'm, that I'm the dude and that she's, the girl. So I guess you could look at it as like a polarity thing, but I didn't really interpret it that way. It's like more like frame.
The more I think about it, I feel like my reaction would be to start poking fun at her. If I noticed how stiff she was and so serious, I would just be like, chick, like, why are you so like serious? Like who hurt you? like have you ever been with like a non-serious person? Like have you ever been with a homeless person before? Like it's really fun. After a while she'll start realizing like, oh no, like he's making fun of me, like he doesn't think I'm like a bad girl or something. She'll start trying to prove herself to you, especially with like the earrings and shit. Like I'm fairly alternative. So like if I were someone who's so serious, like a lawyer and highbrow, I'm just like, dude, you're such a joke.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I'll tell another story just for the sake of posterity here. So I got a couple like epic. So my thing was like I was trying to learn the principles of how all this shit worked, right? I was like re-released back in the wild in my 30s. I had really strict religious upbringing. So I would stay in situations that most guys would like cut and run because they're being like abused by the chick, or like I was like trying to play out the mechanics of attraction and stuff like that. So for example, there was this one girl that I actually, this chick I had met off Facebook, and it just so happened that she used to go to the gym that I went to. Okay. And so I knew of her through like friends of friends and stuff like that, but she wasn't going at the time. So I took her out, and I think it was like back and forth as to like how much she really liked me in the beginning. It was like touch and go over text and stuff like that for a while. Well, I finally get her out, and we go out to dinner and everything. And, like I'm like well-oiled machine at this point. So like it got to the point where it's like, if I could get a girl in front of me, like 90% chance she was going to be chasing me from that point on. Like it was, like they would just genuinely have to be non-compatible for it to not happen at that point. So we have a great date, and she's this chick is also again in her masculine. So this chick is like an office manager. She's like calling shots throughout the day. But she's also fucking smoking too. And so it's funny. So we leave the restaurant, and she's like charging through like so there's a hotel next door basically. So she's like powering through. She's walking ahead of me. She gets to the hotel. She pays for the fucking hotel. The chick pays for the hotel. She made the call and everything, right? So she's like calling all the shots, like fucking paying for the hotel. We go up to the room, okay? And this is like after I had already demonstrated that I'm the shit at the dinner table and all this kind of stuff, right? And so we get into the room, and it's like fixing to go down, right? Like there's nothing else to do in the hotel room but the fuck, right? So like it's fixing to go down, and now she starts giving me last minute resistance. But it was weird because like normally I don't get that, but also I didn't make any mistakes. Like at this point, I'm very keen to like, what mistakes am I making, right? And I would have known, but I didn't make any mistakes this time. And she starts giving me last minute resistance. So it's almost like maybe because it happened so quickly, on the first date, and she's taking me to the hotel and buying the hotel, she had to like verify, right? So basically what she does is she goes, so like I'm like getting her undressed, okay? And she's like taking a step back. She's like, how old are you again? And I'm like, like at the time I was probably like 37 or something like that. And I told her, and she's like, oh, okay, well, I feel a lot better about this now. And so I just kind of look at her like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, I normally date older men, so she's trying to make me feel like juvenile. But this chick was like maybe a year older than me. It's like didn't fucking like, come on, we're peers. Like, shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
So she's trying to do that and see if I react, right? And then and so I'm taking her shirt off and stuff, and then she takes her necklace off and she hands it to me. She's like, oh, can you put that on the nightstand? So I just kind of I didn't even like, it was cool. I just like lightly tossed it on the nightstand, right? I didn't fucking throw it. I wasn't disrespectful or anything, but I just kind of tossed it on the nightstand. She's like, don't be throwing my shit over. Like, keep in mind, this chick was eating out of the palm of my hand all throughout the dinner, and she charged into the hotel to pay for it. Like she wanted this to go down, but now all of a sudden she's being rude to me now that we're in the hotel, right? So I'm just like zen as fuck. And in my marriage before all this, right, when I was married, my ex-wife used to fly off the handle, and she'd like throw things at me, and she'd like get up in my face, like eyes all wide, like she wanted to do some violence and shit. And so I used to practice just staying like zen as fuck. I'd just look her in the eyes and just like be like fucking chill when she would do this, just to see how peaceful I could be like in the storm, right? So I did the same thing. I tapped into the same energy as like my ex when I was with my ex. And so she's flying off the handle, or the chick is like giving me all this like bitch attitude. So I'm just kind of looking at her like, okay, are you done now? Like, are we ready? Because like it's time, you know. And sure enough, like just by being non-reactive to her being an absolute bitch, like a lot of guys would just like get offended that like they're being treated this way or whatever. Or you can even almost play it as like a self-respect thing. It's like, oh, I'm not going to put myself around somebody that treats me this way. And that's a real like healthy attitude to have. But in those shoes, like when it's go time, it's like, no, dude, just like let the fucking noise, you know, pass along and then get right to it. And that's exactly what happened, you know?
Yeah. The dudes who are natural in that situation, you know, who are always good, you know, the Slayer guys, when she would say that, they would just be like, dude, your tits are so nice. That's like the only thing going through their head. Like whatever the girl said, it was like, didn't hear you. Sorry. But yeah, I was going to say your reaction, spot on. I totally admire that. Just be present.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you can do. If you're in like, there's no reason to be up, like, especially after that, after you have a dinner with a girl and she's like taking you to the hotel, like, why would you ever get mad at like anything she said? She could sit there and rattle off like names at me for 10 minutes. Yeah. I'd still be like, okay, let's go.
Let me just give him one more test just so I make sure. Okay, he's cool. All right, let me just go spread eagle now. Like, take me.
That's what it is, you know? And it's like you only run into these situations when you're taking like bold action. I feel like it's like the
I saw Sabrina in the background.
Oh, Sabrina's in the background. Yeah. Yeah. So it's fun, like, because like it's only when you're like putting yourself out. Like for me, it was like I think I hit her up with a video over Facebook. So that was like the bold act. That's almost like a cold approach. It's the cold approach. And then we go out on the date, and of course, like showing that vibe that most guys don't have. It's like when you start taking bold action like that, you get the weird scenarios on the back end, but it's so epic. Like when you power through that stuff,
Yeah. It also felt like she could have been one of those girls who's like, yep, I'm gonna take him, I'm gonna fuck this guy, I'm gonna do all this work for him. She's doing it, paying for the hotel and everything, but at the same time, she's like, I don't sleep with a man on the second or third date or the fourth date, or don't be rude to me. Don't take off my necklace. Like while she's like slowly going through it, and you're just like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, there's some major cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah, don't listen to what girls say. Watch what they do.
Yeah. You want to fire any others out there? I've got another one in the chamber. Or you let me know if you have to go too.
A story. Oh, gosh.
About time?
I'm trying to think. I had such a yeah, I did. Okay, yeah, I did. So when I was in Miami, I did finally, it was kind of a goal of mine to see if I can get a girl to get in my truck, just because I was like, okay, convincing a girl to Uber back with me to my truck at a truck stop and sleep with me in a truck. That was kind of weird. But I was like, let's see if that'll happen. And it did happen. I was like, holy fuck. Yeah. I kind of kept that. I try and keep my, like, anything that I post kind of under the table, because obviously I'm not gonna be like, hey everyone, like someone's, but yeah, it was fucking crazy. I mean, I'd spent like the whole 3 days, I'd spent some time with this same girl, and basically I found out she was staying at a hostel. I was like, fuck, like I really like this girl. Out of all the girls I had met in Miami, I liked her the most, but she was staying in a hostel where, she was sleeping with other people, so I couldn't, go with her. And I think on the last day or the Saturday, I stayed there for a long time, but I ended up coming back with her because I just wanted to hang out with her for the night or something. And like the lady was like, who worked at the hostel, said there were no guests allowed. And I snuck in back there just to hang out with her. This bitch of a lady comes back and was like, motherfucker, I told you can't come out here. Like, She kicked both of us out, kicked the girl out, told her she can't get her deposit back. All this shit happened. I was like, now I feel really bad.
Yeah. So hey, let me make it up to you. Come back to my truck, spend the night.
Pretty much, yeah. I was like, hey, like, would you feel comfortable? I mean, Ubering off of Miami Beach, 30 minutes away to this dingy truck stop. And she was like, yeah, of course. I was like, okay, cool. And okay, so here's the thing. It's like anything can be cool. You just have to kind of dress it up. Like, for example, like in my place right now, I'm sitting on a blow up mattress, dude.
Okay.
This shit has a memory foam mattress, but I tell everyone like, hey, it's a memory foam mattress. It's very zen. It's very cool. People are like, oh, that's so cool. Not like, oh, I just moved in here. I just got a blow up mattress to be efficient. But same deal with the truck. I was like, oh, it's really, really nice. You know, it's got like a refrigerator and a closet and all that stuff. And she comes and she's like, wow, so nice. She's like, oh my God, your dog is here. Wow, this is so cool. I'm like, who would have known?
Yeah, because if you think it's cool and they're feeding that off you, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, this is cool."
Yeah, it's all about perspective. I just always thought like the idea of like, hey, like I'm a truck driver, like let's go in for some trucking fun would be kind of raunchy, you know. But no, it was really nice, and I really fucking like that girl too. That's another thing.
That's cool. I think the fact that you didn't have a big hat on that like helped you.
Yeah.
It's like, hey girl, you want to come see my trucker hat?
Oh God, plenty of that. But
I'll tell one more story. I'll keep this one shorter. So another like epic instance of just like powering through shit. So you know, I was canvassing Facebook for girls, right? I'm always adding girls, like video messaging girls. So I had this one girl, and I video message her, and she immediately like wants to like fucking like go to FaceTime, like get naked and go to FaceTime and shit and do some wacky shit, right? I'm like, okay, like normal. So I'm always like dodging sexual conversation over phone, right? Because girls will bait you and they'll try to talk about sex and then you will, and then they'll like just fucking blow you out or whatever. That happens a lot. Where it's like anytime that they're like talking about like if they try to go down that conversational path, I'll just like kind of brush it aside, and then like that shit can happen in person, you know. So this chick took me back, or it took me aback because she immediately was like in her fucking robe. She FaceTimes me and shit, and she's getting naked. So of course I felt like I should oblige, you know. But she was a freak, right? And so I eventually went to go meet up with her. Well, the thing about this girl was that she was a single mom and she had 3 jobs. So literally the only time I could see her, which I knew it was going to be a good time because of the FaceTime thing. The only time I could go see her was like at the tail end of like her last shift on a particular day during the week. So I go up to this bar that she's tending bar at, and she when I pull up, she's outside smoking a cigarette. So I immediately walk right up to her and I kiss her right on the spot. Like normally I just hug girls, right? But because she did the FaceTime thing, yeah, I did the kiss right off the thing, right? And it was great. It was like in front of her coworkers and everything. It was cool because they were just like there's like 2 or 3 of them chilling out there. And so anyway, she invites me into the bar, and she's still got like a half an hour before they close down. And so there's still like regulars at the bar and stuff. So she's giving me free beers this whole time. Like I'm chilling by myself at the bar. She's working her job and stuff. She introduces me to like her boss and all this kind of shit. And everything was like super cool. She's giving me free beers and everything. Everything was like super nice. Well, I help her close down the bar. I'm like washing dishes with her, like, because this is our date. This is all right? It's washing dishes with her and shit, and we're like closing down the bar together. And so she's got a regular place across the street that she goes to because they're open for like an extra hour past her bar. Okay. So like we close down her place and then we go to the other one so that we can finally chill together. Right.
Cool.
And so we go across the street to the bar, and so we're at the other bar, and there's a dude to my left that I guess she knows or something. And so she's like immediately like talking to this guy, and like she even goes and sits on his lap at one point, and then she fucking like tours that whole bar, and she's like trying to talk to all the other guys in the fucking place. Well, I already know that I have it in the bag. Like I made out with her like upon approach, right? there was the FaceTime thing. Plus, like probably in that week, I'd already, met a few other girls and shit. So like, I know that what's going to happen by the end of the night, right? So I was completely non-reactive. I didn't pay her any attention. I could see her out of the corner of my eye, talking to all these other guys and stuff. She sat on the one guy's lap, and even when she walked off, like the guy turns to me whose lap she sat on, and she's like, "You're a fucking lucky bastard." Even he knew like what was going to happen. And when she sat on his lap, I just immediately talked to the guy to like the other side, like I didn't have any other girls there. There were no other like girls there for me to like, give my attention to.
Right.
The other guy. But I was so in practice at that point, it was like I was totally non-reactive to her shit. Well, it doesn't end there. So that bar shuts down and we go outside and we're sitting on the court. Now all of a sudden she's like throwing all this crazy shit at me, right? Like everything was cool in the beginning. She tests me with all the other guys and stuff. And then we're sitting out like outside of that bar. And, it would have been time for me to walk her to my car and then drive her back to her place, right? Well, she's like, hey, well, I'm going to see if this other guy can take me home or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I can't remember what it was. It was like that. And then it was something else. It was like she so I don't remember what I said in response to her saying the thing about the other guy. But the one thing that sticks out in my mind is she looks at me. And this is after everything, right? This is after her giving me free beers all night, after making out with her, after the FaceTime thing and shit. She looks at me, she goes, "You can leave now," like totally fucking rude, right? And this is after I'd fucking passed every test. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I turn around and I get probably like 20 feet down the road, right? And then she's like calling me back and shit. But like that's what it took, like for me to just be like, okay, fuck this. After I already invested the drive out there, after hanging out with her all night, after being unreactive to the other guys, it was taking me like being willing to fucking walk off. And then she's like, okay, hey. And then I ended up taking her back to her place, It's funny.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why it matters, like, to always be doing this shit. Because like, if you weren't, like, if that was like the one girl that you saw for the last 2 weeks, like you wouldn't have wanted to like walk off, or whatever. It's like,
yeah, for real. But yeah, it sounds like it's literally the game of the last dick standing.
Yeah.
But yeah. I will say that's a really, really good skill. Like if you're talking to a girl and you feel like, oh, this is working, this is great, and she peels off to you, instead of just standing there like a complete noob, like, okay, I'll just wait again. Like you're able to, and obviously there are no girls, you were able to bounce off and chat with other guys. That is such an invaluable skill. I've noticed a lot of guys don't do that. Though, I mean, even the sort of okay dudes will try and find another girl, but it's like, no, find someone in proximity. You're keeping your state up. Find some cool guys to ride with.
Yeah, good point, man. It was kind of funny too, because like when I got her back to her place, I was like, oh my God, it was this trailer, and there was literally a mountain of laundry that looked like it might have been like a month old. Like it was literally, dude, like about the size of a dresser. No bullshit. Like we had to climb over that to get into the bedroom. It was fucking insane. But I was like, all right, we're not stopping now, boys. we're gonna bring this one home.
No judgment. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I would say girls, women in general, when they see you, they're like, what's going to happen when I walk away from Benny for a little bit? Is he going to get jealous if I pop on this guy's lap? Oh, I see he's just talking to everyone else and enjoying himself. He's a cool dude. And all the other dudes like him. She's just like, check mark. Okay, check. And then that last little thing, she was just like, you can leave now. And you're just like, all right, I'm out. And she's like, wait, no, come back. Take me.
And dude, but what's funny is I think the thing that makes the story is that she did it in this super fucking rude, like ultra rapport breaking way. It wasn't even like playful, like you said. It was like fucking stark. So she was like, I think it was almost like spiking her emotion. She was spiking her own emotions because she probably knew what I was going to do, and she wanted it to like set in, like she wanted to like fucking indulge in it or something,
Yeah,
it's really weird, man. Yeah. But I guess we're heading up on an hour, man. So yeah, dude, I don't know. I just wanted to bring you on because we don't have like a lot of guys that really go out a lot per se. Most of the guys are older, kind of like me, and don't have the time as much to like go out and fucking surf the crowd and stuff, So I wanted to show them like somebody that has been out there doing it,
Cool. Yeah. Facebook a little bit. Like I've met girls from off Facebook who I've never met previously at all. I will say it does work. It blows my mind. Facebook is not just a place for friends. One thing I've noticed, about women, how girl chicks in general, they always love to be that. You find those girls who like being really helpful. Like they might have those little daddy issues or something. They're like, I want to help you. Dude, post some stories with dumb generic questions and watch them start responding to you randomly. Like, hey, I want to help you. I want to help you this.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's a great point. I want to touch on that real quick because, so some of my close clients, I've told them to follow a particular dude on my friends list. And this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's got tons of, area girls on his Facebook because he's just friended them all. But he doesn't know game or anything. But he'll create these little engagement posts. So he might ask a question about something girls care about, like fucking mimosas or some bullshit, right? And they all chime in the comments. Well, what does that make him look like? It makes him look like a pimp because all these attractive girls are like engaging with his posts.
Yeah.
So I think it's so cool, stuff like that. Like if you can get them engaged, they all see each other and they can just kind of intuit. It's like, okay, this guy's in demand because these girls, give him their attention.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it can be really, really dumb. Like I'm just like, I don't know what juice to get, tan or cream.
Yeah.
They will just, I mean, that's like chick crack.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, I sound really blasé about it because like the girls I met, they're so chill. Like we had a great time. Some of us just hung out, but yeah, be fun, be engaging. That definitely works. If you ever look at my Facebook stories, I just keep that up just for the hell of it. And guys too, like just friendly guys are always engaging as well. So
yeah, man. Cool. Do you have any last words of wisdom?
Go forth, do great things. Yeah, man, it's a long process. I'm still growing and changing, but okay, actually one thing I would say, find your weakness, find the thing that makes you the most insecure and just work on realizing it's not going to stop you. Like my biggest weakness that always stopped me is I always got frustrated when girls were like, wow, you seem really flamboyant. Like, are you gay? Like, are you gay? Are you gay? Are you gay? And it always got me. It was just like that one little roadblock. And now it's like, I don't know, I still seem a little on the feminine edge, but now it just doesn't stop me anymore.
Just agree and amplify. Yeah, I fuck dudes all the time. I fucking love fucking dudes.
Yeah,
like, oh my God.
Pretty much. Like it just gets funnier and funnier. I'm like, you just happen to fall upon me. Like, what's going on with your life? Guess I must have been the bottom of the barrel.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you jumping on the fly like this, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me here.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, we'll have to hang out sometime, train jiu-jitsu sometime in the future.
Yes, for sure.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Peace.